Just wanted to say that reverse mortgages are a scam. Home equity conversion mortgage, they're called. They advertise themselves as no monthly payment, and they give you you draw out equity from your house. That's what they say. It's not really like that. So I am my dad's son, and he just got a home equity conversion mortgage. And it's so tricky the way it's written that I was actually tricked myself. I was a math counts champion. I was the 16th smartest mathematician in high school, and I was the third best in third grade. So I'm really good at simple math. And even with AI, and actually AI told me that it was bad initially, and I was trying to get him to say it was good because we didn't want to pay capital gains taxes, we didn't want to pay the fees, and when you stay, you pay some fees, $20,000, but you also lose all the equity in your home if your dad's going to live 20 years. My dad is extremely healthy, and he is probably going to live a very long time. Very long time. And it's actually kind of in a lot of ways, it's a worse deal the longer you live. It's more likely that they take all of your equity, and they will often take all of your equity, but even if they don't, it's a 9% interest rate, and they're going to be aggressively taking all of your money. I ran the math. My dad has a $1.1 million home, and he had about $445 mortgage at a very low interest rate. Couldn't afford the rent. I'm over here trying to get a job, and he basically he's very frustrated. He can't qualify for a home equity line of credit, which is unfortunate. But he didn't want to pay payments on those anyways. But home equity line of credit, he was like 10 credit score too low, and I ran the numbers, and I ran it as if they were giving us. Oh, by the way, our monthly payment's only $2,000. It was like a no-brainer. But again, we have no money, so it's like crazy. But he gets the $20,000, loses that in fees. They only give him $17,000, and now the monthly payment is $0. But the payment from the equity is $50,000 a year, then $55,000, $60,000, etc. When I ran the number, I thought they were going to be giving us, this is what I thought when I was doing the calculations, and this is how I was running it. I was thinking, we're saving $2,000 a month. So we're basically taking $480 out of the equity. But we're not. The $480 would have went into the mortgage. The mortgage would have went from $450 down to $250, and then we would have kept all the appreciation. So we would have got all that money back, pretty much, that we would have put in. But how they get you is like they get all your appreciation. So this house is going to go up $50,000 the first year, then $55,000, whatever. But the loan is going to end up catching it because it's 9.49% compounded. And you're thinking, well, 9.49%, it's like the market is 7, it's like 6 is, it's like 9. It's it's only 2% off, you know. But another calculation I ran was like, well, what if we took the 480 that we're saving and you just buy investments and you know, I'm thinking we have, and this is so bad, by the way, even if they sent us a check for $24,000 every year for 20 years, we'd have 480,000. If we invested it perfectly and made 10% on it, we would have, you know, a $1.1 million home, and we got 480 out of it. Never had to make monthly payments. 480 in real, let's say it scales, yeah, it just scales with inflation. It doubles, let's say it doubles to $1 million, then it doubles again to 2 million. So we'd have 2 million, but all the prices are quadrupled. So we basically have 450K at the end. And then my brother and I could split the 480 or the 2 million, right? We get $1 million each. So we split the 480. And that's if we invested it perfectly or bought gold or something like that. Bought gold with no fees and sold it with no fees. But the thing is like, we would still lose the appreciation of the house. And we have 600K equity, so we'd only get 480 out of it. But anyway, that's not what's happening. They're not sending us a $24,000 check every year. They're not sending us anything. So if my dad dies early, we're spending 50K a year in interest. 50, then 55, then 60, then 65, then 70, etc. And it comes out to about 70, 80. And then if he lives really long, you know, we end up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And then it goes and then it starts taking the principal. So the other way to look at it is, and then another thing you could do is look at it from their perspective. I wonder if they're making money on this. They give us 120 ounces of gold as a loan to pay off the other loan. And then in 20 years, we give them 240 ounces of gold. So they double up with no risk. And they didn't do anything. People work their whole lives for 400,000. And these guys didn't do anything for 20 years, and then they get 600,000 real money. So it's gonna end up being 4 million. And we all we got was 17,000 cash and no monthly payments. So we're not putting in 2K a month, where we would have got 1,000 back at the end, or 500 back at the end in real money. So we're really only saving 1,500 a month, and we're paying 620,000 to get it. Now, of course, I'm just gonna tell my dad all this, and then we're gonna sell it within this year, and we're gonna move literally anywhere, and we can downsize. I do want to say, if we sold this house, paid cap gains, paid fees, and then rented for $3,400 a month, which is what it is here in Livermore, that would be 34,000 a year, and we would only have 470 in equity, or 470 cash. So if we invested that and we made 10%, we would make 15K. We would cash flow the 15K in the good years, and then we get to live. But overall, it would be hard to keep it. I think we would lose. I think we would end up it would be about break even if you compare it to renting and investing after paying a lot of cap gains and fees. But when you downsize, we could just pay the cap gains and fees. We got $470. We buy a $470 house, and we get rid of the phantom loan of $9.49, and we get no loans. You could also just put 20% down and invest, but you'd have to be good. It's whatever with that. I'd be down to do that, but then we'd have a $1,600 a month payment if we're in Stockton, and we'd have to, and then if my dad wants to spend his money, he could do it, but the way that we're doing it here is absurd, and for some people, the idea, if you have a $100,000 house and you have a $50,000 mortgage and you're in Alabama and there's no way to downsize and you don't feel like leaving, it's not a bad deal to get 20 years in Alabama for $50K, and it's just a little bit different situation. But here in California, and he has, and when they advertise it too, they're so sweet. They're like, if you have no heirs, we'll be free to take all your money. Well, he does have heirs. He has 2 heirs, and I'm beyond embarrassed because I kept trying to get AI to say, no, we got the 480, and if we invest it all in gold, and gold does well, and then and if there's high inflation, can we break even? The housing market is only going to go up 5%, and the interest is 9.49%. So the house, it's going to need to go up 7 or 8% a year if we were to stay here for 20 years. 7 or 8% per year over 20 years, which has never happened. We would need hyperinflation, and even with hyperinflation, we'd still be better off moving or keeping the old loan. I know the old loan was impossible because we didn't have enough money, but it's just my dad, his first group of friends came over and they did all the math themselves first, and they talked him out of it. They were yelling at him not to get it, and there was this married woman who offered to kiss my dad on the lips if he didn't get it, and her husband was there, and he said, I'll go in the other room. That's how much it was worth it. He didn't want us to get scammed for $600,000. Bless their heart. Then my dad went again a year later, had some debt, and this time more than ever he just wants to get the $17K. He wants to get the no monthly payment, and 1 million Americans have done this deal. It's just, I thought we were I must have done this for hours and hours, and sometimes it's like, oh, you're losing 1 million, and then other times I say no, and then I'd have to correct them. We're only losing 150,000, and then sometimes I'd say, okay, we're losing 300,000. But the truth is, in 10 years you're losing 300,000 real. In 20 years you're losing 600,000 real on the 1 million loan compared to moving and downsizing. Now, I already asked my friend who has rich parents, would you loan us $500,000 and I'll give you $675,000 in equity in my house. And if that's the case, now we're losing $175,000. But all the money goes to a good guy. And my brother and I would be able to split $425 real, which is what I thought the deal was before. But this way he could pay off the loan, and now the phantom 9.49% is gone, and they won't take our appreciation. So we'll get to keep 40% appreciation. He gets 60% appreciation, and he gets basically he gets 175K free, and that way I won't have to lose the cap. We won't lose the cap gains. We won't lose the fees, and we won't have to do a bunch of work to move to get to a weaker house. But I'm beyond embarrassed. I thought I was getting scammed. I thought my dad was getting scammed 130K, which would still be amazing for the lender. If they were sending us 25K a year, they would still make money because they just made 50K or more that year. And I'd be okay with that deal if they just sent us 25K a year for 20 years. Because we'd lose money, but we wouldn't lose that much. But, and even if they sent it out of our equity, because the equity is going to get inflated, the equity is going to get eaten up by the compounding interest most of the time anyways. But it's either a bad deal, a ripoff, or a scam, and it depends on basically whether or not you can downsize and what the cost of rent is and how you want to invest if you sell. But it's a really big mistake, and I think it's a little bit of God's wrath on me, but it fires me up to tell the world about this scam. And all the smart people know that it's bad, but it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for them to explain it to somebody who thinks it's good, because the person who thinks it's good is like, there's no monthly payment, and it's like, you're not factoring that in. There's no monthly payment. By the way, you still have to pay property taxes. Wild. But they're like, there's no monthly payment, so I'm freeing that up every month. And when people have that and their lifestyle doubles or triples because of it, that sometimes they don't even care how much they're paying. But if you were to lay $600,000 out in cash, it's okay, this is how much we're losing by being in a slightly nicer area, in a slightly nicer home. Like, your face would get all peachy. I guess if you didn't have any children and you hated everyone on earth equally, I guess we'll give all my money to that private loan guy. If money is truly worthless and meaningless, you just save yourself some time moving. But if I had no heirs, out of principle, I would not take the reverse mortgage. I would sell, downsize, do all that work, and give the equity to charity, basically. To a charity. Because these guys are scam artists. I don't know if they know it, because if they help out 10%, and I think 10% of the population should get it, or 10% of the population that looks into it, the fact that they're like, oh, you have to be 62 and to qualify, and then you pay fees, because it's like, makes it seem like it's better. It's exclusive. Like, oh, we would lose money if it was 61. It just makes it look legit. And it's like, 1 million people have gotten it, but maybe only 50,000 have done it profitably, or 100,000 have done it profitably. The person loaning it, they always profit big, and they're predatory loans, predatory fees, predatory interest rate. And then the person gets to stay in their home, and there's no monthly payment. Don't get a reverse mortgage. And talk to AI about it. Give them a lot of information. And tell them the prompt, well, yeah, I'm going to get it, this. And then say, tell me why it's bad. Tell me how much I'm losing. Tell me how much I'm really losing. Tell me how much I'm losing compared to this. Tell me how much I'm making compared to this. And just look at it. Just look at it. It's like, it's really bad. It's a scam. Proverbs 13:11. He who gains wealth hastily or by vanity, the wealth will diminish, but he who gathers little by little or gathers by labor shall have an increase. I don't like these loan people, these private companies that get to make 10% risk-free plus $20,000 upfront fees. That's another thing that's like, oh, it's non-recourse. It's like, okay, so you're going to take, it's like, oh, once we take half of your house, plus all the appreciation, plus the fees, you know, now we're going to stop. We're not going to go after you for more. We're not going to let the $500,000 loan that just turned into a $4 million loan, we're not going to let it bury you too much, you know. And if you can help it, don't get it. Home equity conversion mortgage, don't get it. And by the way, it used to be worse.